Welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. I'm Amy Sikarskie, Master Energy Therapist, channeler, mentor, and friend. I'm so happy to connect. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. I'm Amy Sikarskie, and I'm so happy you're here. Today, our guest, Laura Sullivan, has joined us to talk about her episode on the Spirit and Soul Healing Show. And you can check her episode out in season 2 by visiting spiritandsoulhealingshow.com. We have so much to dive into. I'm excited to hear all the updates, and we're really happy to share the space with you. As we get started, if you're enjoying the podcast, please give a thumbs up, 5 stars, like, and subscribe. Also, share with a friend. Okay, so, oh my goodness, Laura, it's been a few months. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. I am just so excited about your episode. And for those who haven't viewed it yet, you're in for a treat. In our session, it was so magical. That's the only word I can describe. The energy was so full of love, so high vibe. I felt like a child, those giggles that I would feel. And of course, we had so many fairies come in and other beautiful beings. I'm curious how that has affected your work or how things might have changed since we last connected.
So it has affected my work incredibly. Um, I would say right after that session, my then sessions with my clients, I mean, the fairies were just there.
Mm.
They heal with me. They come through so clearly for me now since that session. And I also feel like the dragons, I just feel like there's so much more coming through since that session. As some dragons come through sometimes, I'll just be like, who's coming through today? I also feel like I don't even know. And you have educated me because I didn't actually really even know that was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeling recently like I just gave someone an attunement the other day, and I feel like the mermaids were with me.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's possible. That is
Is
possible.
that possible? Because I was like, am I
Uh-huh.
making this up? This just feels too, but like they're there. They're like definitely healing with me sometimes now.
Yes. Wow.
So yeah.
That feels so beautiful. It is possible. I've had mermaids come into sessions, and often it's because the client has a life as a mer person. And so the energy is there. I myself have had past life memories and meditations where I had a life as a mermaid. And the unique properties of the healing frequencies in those sessions are they're really deep and beautiful. And for me, it was music. It was this like beautiful singing of mermaid, but then also I could feel diving and having the water heal and communicating with the water. So yes, wow, I had a feeling that you're connected to the elemental realm so deeply. And here
Yes.
you have the waters speaking in the mermaid lifetimes. Oh,
Yeah. And
wow.
it's funny because for me, I don't really like feel it. I
Mm,
like see it.
okay.
So I'm watching like the mermaids, sort of it's been incredible. And like the fairies too, to where I swear I'm making it up. And I'm like, I don't think I am, because I didn't even know that mermaids were like a thing.
Yeah. Oh,
But
trust, trust, trust. Absolutely. Yeah. When you trust, and for others listening too, this is just how it goes with experience, build confidence. So too, it's like, well, I'll have messages come in or things will be shared, share it with my client. They resonate so deeply, or they'll come, a few weeks later and give an update. And so if this information is also showing up in the same way for you, like having fairies or dragons or mermaids come in. And it's just as if like those clair senses are accessing that information the same way they would access information from this lifetime. That's how you learn to trust. You're like, okay, well, every way of within my communication has always been spot on or proven to be applicable and true. So I'll go with it. Yeah,
Right.
trust those connections. And that's so like I have the biggest smile for those who aren't watching the video. I have a huge smile. It's so deeply joyful, but healing as well. And just as you share that, I feel like a healing connecting in with the merfolk in my sacral and my heart. So I feel like I personally have connections there that are heart and very intimate. And I don't know how often has that happened? Do you remember anything about how they were helping or why they might have come through?
So yesterday I was with someone and I was working kind of in her sacral area. This is not the attunement one, but and it almost felt like her sacral chakra turned into like it was sacred waters,
Mm.
and the
Mhm.
mer people were there. All I can say is like clearing it out. Like I
Yeah,
don't know how. Another time I was with someone and it felt like it honestly, it almost was like there were sharks in the waters and then the mer people showed up. And then
oh,
they like
okay.
transmuted that, whatever that the energy of fear or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get to know my how my guides are showing me things.
Right.
Like I don't what does that mean? Like so the mer people transmuted the shark into. I don't know what that meant, but I know that it was doing something for the client's highest will and good. So
Yeah, it's so powerful. Well, the way I would interpret it is that the merfolk are her family, soul family connection, and that they're coming through time and space to protect and heal and release the fear to I'm getting there was some trauma probably around that originated in a time where her family was aware of what occurred. And so when we go into the different lives, we forget so much, but spirit remembers, and the souls of those who were in those lifetimes with us also remember. And it felt like they came through for support into this dimension. So it's really, yeah, that's really beautiful that you had that experience and could hold the space and share the information because sometimes as a healer or the person receiving the client receiving there's a lot of energy and emotion that can come through and other times not so much but it will come through after like in that night when they're sleeping or the week after so by you sharing the information it brings it into this reality and it kind of is like just connects the different layers of consciousness and allows for that healing to be witnessed and to start to unfold and take place. So, if you're not feeling like the water, because sometimes as a physical channeler, I do feel like I'm in the scene, but not always. So, if you're getting the vision, that's just keeping you focused or on point. You don't have to feel, but sharing it with the client, they may feel then or later. And either way, everything's so perfect. So, sharing vocally what's happening is an enhancement in your healing space and really supportive for their integration. So, yeah,
okay.
can continue sharing, even
Okay,
if it
because I
doesn't make
haven't
sense.
actually shared with them that. Um,
I would.
yeah, I did. The woman who I was giving the attunement to, I did. The other, people I haven't yet, just because I don't know. I mean,
It's just building confidence. Like I
yeah,
understand discernment. Like, okay, I got to trust in this before I'm
right.
just going to say it. And
Yes.
that's totally fine. That's how we
Yeah.
start. Yeah.
Okay. Because the woman who I gave the attunement to was like, you can call me crazy. I don't really know, but I feel like the mer people were in here helping with this. And I knew she would receive it and it would be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So beautiful. Oh my goodness. Yes. So in your session, there was so much elemental energy of you connecting in with the land. You have that elemental guide who had the leaf cap. Do you
Yes.
remember?
I do remember. I do remember. And like, I don't know, again, I don't know my guides necessarily individually yet.
Mhm.
But what comes in with that one is like years ago, I felt like I had a session and outside, I felt like there was a guide like sitting in a tree.
Oh,
Like when I opened
yes.
my eyes, he was like out the window. And I was like, he's my fun, playful guide. Like he's reminding me to like have fun and to play and to not take things so seriously.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's the guy, I wonder if that's him. So,
Oh, I definitely feel it. When you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I could see him sitting out there. And
and
the
he was like
funny
in a
thing,
tree. So he's
yeah,
outside.
he's outside in the tree. And in the
Yeah.
scene, he was really tall. And I tried to create the artwork to share that, but I probably should have made him taller. He was really tall. And so when you said that, I see him in the tree, and he would even be sitting in a small tree, like a chair, because he's so tall. And he wouldn't care. He's just really funny. He's not exactly like Peter Pan, but kind of reminds me of Peter
Yes. The
Pan.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very kind of similar. Yeah. So, oh, that's amazing. Well, I remember he was sharing that you had a transition and how to work with the energy of intention and putting that into the water to bless the future path ahead. And it's been a few months. Have you had any like opportunities or openings? Do you feel that you've stepped further on one path or the other, or are you in that space where you're waiting, which is fine. Like sometimes there's no time on this at all. Are you still in that transition space of quiet contemplation?
I I feel like I am still in a place of when I don't remember when we met. We met in the spring, right? Was this in
Yeah.
the spring? Okay, so I was still working out of a place in my town, and then that place closed down.
Oh.
So I am now working in a place in a different town, which is lovely and great, and there's great things about it. But I really want to be back in my town
Okay.
too, or in addition to, but I think like mostly.
Okay.
Um, and so I feel like I am still in that quiet space of like, what exactly is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Because I just got trained in emotional freedom technique as well. That's been like a tool
Oh,
that I've used quite a bit for myself. And
love.
so I'm still in this space of like, where am I supposed to be? What exactly am I supposed to be offering? How am I supposed to be offering this?
Hmm.
And I'm hoping to receive answers.
You will. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I saw the river scene again.
You saw the river
The river
again?
scene, the same vision when we were in our session
Okay.
on the TV show. And you are dipping your toe in, and they're showing me that the like this could feel there's rocks in this shallow river. It's like a creek or the beginning, so it's not super deep. And you're sitting on the side, and they're showing me these beautiful stones creating a pathway. And so this experience is cultivating a flow, a pathway for you. There is something about where you're going or where you are that's going to guide you to the next space, and that it's creating this pathway for you. So there'll be a couple other opportunities to come in that will feel really solid in your heart, like in a good way, like, oh, that feels good. That feels sure. This feels comforting and grounding. And so when that information, it feels like it'll be an experience or information, you're going to put it in the river and it's going to redirect this current. So that's what's
Mm.
happening right now. By being there, it's helping to shape or form the direction of this current within this river. And your guide and Archangel Michael's here, and they're just saying you can't go wrong. So the only thing that would feel uncomfortable to you is if you feel like you've stayed there too long, and that would be like 3 years. So that's too long.
Okay.
Which probably you wanted
At
to
the
make, I
place
don't
that
know.
I'm at
Yeah.
now. Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah.
I
I've
was
been there
like, you
for like
probably already feel like that's definitely
I've been
too
there for
long.
like a year, but just
Okay.
but only in a very small capacity. So the past like 3 months I've been there, like
Okay.
where I've been.
So Yeah, if you were to stay 3 years there full time, it'd be too long. And the picture is you're on the side of this little, like on the bank of the river. And if you stay there for too long, the water's going to be backing up and pooling all around you, and then you're going to be in this stagnant water.
Mm.
So you're meant to let things flow, and you're in your flow and you're working, you're showing up, you're being in the now. And when it's time, you're going to go further down into more into the stream of the river, further from the bank. So they're saying trust the flow. And right now is an observation space. It's like you have your feet in the water, you are showing up, you're helping people, you're having sessions, and you're observing choices. I'm hearing choices versus or choices and obligations. Those are the two words. Choices. What are your choices? Obligations. Like, what do you feel you're obligated to? And this is two part. It's like, what did you sign up for by taking a position in this, space? Um, like, so that's more contracts with people.
Mm.
But then don't like overlap or forget the obligations with your heart. So it's kind of like they should be separate, and knowing how it's a partnership, but don't let them bleed together so that it becomes confusing. So there's the obligation that you have within of what feels in alignment with your soul path and how you show up. So for now, it feels very much like, yeah, this is the space. You're also observing how things are done. You're having new discoveries and sessions. And so it's in some form of an apprenticeship space for you when like in the
Mm.
series of life. So you're, like you mentioned, you just took a class, which I love, emotional freedom techniques. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
And so it's like, okay, well, we're in this space and you're getting things going. They're saying your wheels are priming and you're getting ready to, like, spin and flow. So staying here is beautiful. I'm seeing 18 months. And so how long have you been there full time though? Like full time?
Full time since July.
Oh
So
yeah. So
it's
shortly
been,
after we met.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Um,
then I just woke up one day and was like, I need to be in my town. I need to be elsewhere. So I actually told her, speaking of the obligations, because we don't really have a lease. Like
okay.
I'm renting a room. I'm
Okay.
like sharing a room with someone else. And there's no lease. And so I wanted to be upfront, not to be like, and so a couple months ago, I was like, how does December 1st sound as like a time where I'll still do meditations there and I'll still be sort of offering things there, but not renting the room. And she's like, that sounds great. But now as December 1st comes, I'm like, I don't have another space,
Oh
which I know
yeah.
there's flexibility. I know she's flexible. I know like it's all fine. But I just think that or I don't think I thought that I would just be sort of on this new path by now.
Okay. Well, hold on to your horses. Okay, so when you were sharing July, and I was like, oh, and they showed me 18 months. So it was December of next year. So I
Mm,
don't know if you got like the date as December, or if
right.
you just like maybe you felt like you didn't want to be there too long, but that doesn't mean you're tied to it. It just means that you'll still be there. So December of next
Okay.
year. And so that can fade and transition to more part-time, but
Mm-hmm.
actually it really feels like it's going to be good for you. Yeah. So, mm, okay, hold on, because your guide is here. And this is what he's saying. Put some more stones in the river. So he wants you to put some intentions in the river. And you can, in your awareness, have a time to it. But he's saying if you try and skip forward on time, like speed things up, you're going to miss out on some experiences that would really benefit you.
Similar to
So,
that, the place where I'm at now.
yeah, yes, and life in general as an overall, message. But yes. And so what he's saying is, rather than feeling upset at yourself or getting frustrated if you're thinking, I'm supposed to be in a new place by now, he's saying spirit has a plan. Let the light lead the
Mm-hmm.
way. You still have your feet and your hands in the water. You're connected, you're flowing, you're there. And he's saying, listen, like listen to the messages around you. And this is really beautiful. I know if you go into nature, you're going to connect in with spirit deeply. So maybe take some meditative walks or go sit by a stream or some water, but moving water. And so this message is not to put a human timeline on it where we're going to feel defeated and upset and frustrated with ourselves. So flow with it and sink into like, okay, what is spirit showing me?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of it, like this energy is really pulling me into that message and it feels so beautiful. And that's the emotion and that's the sensations in the physical body. But the mental field in the human world of Amy is like over here talking also. And they're just saying, like, look, if anything else, if there's other opportunities, it's not like you're married to this place, but they want you to utilize this opportunity to its fullest and not try
Mm-hmm.
and like hop and skip and jump away. So, which are their words, which is really fun. Like that
Right.
sounds really
Right.
playful.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Okay. So should I like not be looking for a space anymore?
you can look for a space. But if it then tends to be that you still are connecting in there, maybe part time until
Mm-hmm.
December of next year, because it feels like it's going to be titrated like a transition, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be black and white, like, okay, one day we turn the light switch on and off and we're separated. It's going to be a continued conversation or flow and relationship. And what I'm getting is you may even have clients that prefer to meet you in that location and other ones that prefer where you're going in the future.
Because that's what happened. That part of my reason was like I spent 2 years building this community where I am.
Mm.
And then I left and like it's only 15 minutes away, but people don't travel
I
very much. And
know.
so I'm kind of like, I left this community that I spent a lot of time building. And so you're right, because then I was like, oh, I shouldn't build another one here because I want to get back there. But as I'm saying that, people are coming to see me there. But I feel like I'm missing out on all these people here who are like, oh, we miss you so much. And I'm like, oh, but I'm right there. I'm like not
Right.
far. So
Yeah.
so I'm yeah, I felt like very clear a couple months ago when I was like December 1st, I'm going to be done. And now I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. And I don't
Well,
think anything really has to be done. Like I think I can just continue.
yeah, let it play out. They're saying flow, 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 flow. And as you connect with spirit, I see your feet in the water and your eyes closed and your head up to the sun and feeling the sunlight on your face. So go in nature every day or, whenever you can. But it could be that daily connection of, okay, lead me for today. And don't worry, don't stress or focus on a time.
Mhm.
They gave you a time in a way to help take the pressure off.
Right.
So, because you're also creating a community in the other location, which is good.
Right.
They need you. And yeah, it's really kind of uncomfortable as a healer to be like, I'm only 15 minutes away. You're not going to make the drive. Okay. But Spirit's saying if they were in dire straits, like if they really needed or wanted, they would make the drive. So
Hmm.
know that you have made yourself available and it's up to them to take that extra step. There are other hearts calling, like other connections at this place you're at currently and some are coming in the future that are going to be really great connections. So by you being there, you're serving, and they're saying like the greater good, the overall cause, you're serving others too. So you're not staying just limited to this community. You've expanded, and then you will come back, and there'll be a way in which it merges a little bit. It'll have a broader community, but people know how to find you. They're saying, and that's like their choice.
Right.
That's on them
Yes.
to do so. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so beautiful. They're showing me the dragons, and I remember how joyful and playful the dragons were in your session. And the one that will come into the healing space, I still see him working with the chakras. How has that been for you? Are you noticing anything new? How is the relationship? Is it still building?
So that relationship is still building for sure.
Okay.
They definitely, I notice them. They for sure come in. I often don't know, like, are these my dragons or my clients' dragons? Like,
Mm.
um, I feel like there's one that I know is mine
Uh-huh. Hmm.
that works with me when I'm doing work on myself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, but I know they're there. And so I'm at a place now where like I kind of will be in a session and I'm like, okay, who's with me today? And maybe the fairies will show up, or maybe the dragons, or maybe the merpeople, or maybe even like I don't some star beings. I don't even know which ones. And
Okay.
they all like look a little bit different to me. Well, obviously, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Oh, beautiful. Well, the connection is there. And just like this previous message, it's going to continue to like deepen. And then the awareness and understanding so that it's second nature. But a lot of times when we have these strong connections to these elemental realms or like dragons, other beings, it feels so natural to us. It's like a part of the energy that's so comfortable. It feels just like home. So we might not even notice the strong contrast, but our clients will. They'll notice something and it is helping in the healing spaces. Absolutely. It really, really is. And so they're saying just the fact that like you're aware and conscious, then if they need to come in even stronger to give you a message, or if it's a heavy session, they'll come in because they do help to clear emotions from the
Mm,
body. That's what they're helping with. And protecting and transmuting. So, like you mentioned your dragon for yourself, and that's what will happen is in a meditational space, they'll come in and help heal you by releasing energy from other timelines of emotions, or this is their words and it's the way they know that we could understand. It's called a curse, they're saying. So what to me that means is if there's an energy that keeps playing like an on repeat in the aura, in the interdimensional field, and it's from another time, they're going to clear that out for you. So, an example would be a feeling of inadequacy because you've had other lifetimes where you were beaten down or abused, or like, oh, all the words that are coming in are pretty strong. Okay, so I wanted to say somebody yelling at you, but they're saying viciously attacking. Oh, but through words. So that, that can do a lot of damage to the psyche. So your dragons will come in when you have a thought or a feeling of doubt. And if that keeps coming up for you on a particular topic, I absolutely, with intention, would sit in meditation, ask them to come through and reverse or pull out that programming or that energy, because words are, they have power. They are like
mhm,
this, like a spell. So
mhm.
pull that energy out that's from another time and space, and then they'll help heal it. But they are holding the space, they're pulling it out, they're holding the space, and your fairies are going to come in and put light into the crevices, like put light back into to where you need that light now, help you return to your wholeness and that fullness of your essence to return to you. And I love this because it's a beautiful grouping. Like you have such a gorgeous collective of beings that are working with you. And real quick before we forget, I want to share when you were saying you weren't quite sure if like the dragons are yours or your clients, just recognize they say, how does your team show up when it's your guides? Like how do they show up? So
Mm,
for myself, they come in on the right side and sometimes like to the side kind of behind. But my clients team, their guides and angels, their loved ones will always come into my space at about 11 o'clock, just to my left in front of me. And so if you're standing and you recognize like, oh, well, what way did they enter? Just as an example, because that's how I
mhm.
I do it. So the message is, how did your teams always show up?
Okay.
And there's
That's
going to
a
be a
good question.
pattern
That's a good,
here.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was another one when you were talking. One of my questions was like, okay, so if I always see the mer people sort of in the space where my hands are, or where I'm intentionally offering energy,
Yeah.
that's what I'm like, are they mine? Are they
They
my
could
guides? Are
be.
they her?
Yes.
Are they his? Like, so, and then I'm like, does it really matter?
Well, the benefit, I mean, the work will be done either way, but the
Right.
benefit is if they are yours, then you're going to start to recognize, okay, so which beings are here and in what ways are they helping? And then is there a message around that? You'll develop a relationship just as I have with the archangels.
Okay.
So, because then when a particular archangel comes in, I'm like, oh, they always help with XYZ. And so you'll start to know, like, okay, I'm going to give my client the heads up. Hey, it feels like we might be working with some deep emotions here, maybe related to the mother line. So you kind of might start to notice what the different merfolk are assisting with if
Okay.
they have a specialty. So that's the benefit of it. And if you're seeing the same, like if you are clairvoyant and you can see these beings and it's the same one every time, and for those who aren't clairvoyant, if they can feel or hear their name, sense, and they know, oh yeah, this energy is familiar, it's probably yours. They're coming
Right.
in on all the sessions. Yeah.
That's
But
what, right. Because I feel like it's the same group of mer people that are coming in
okay.
the sessions.
So then I would feel they're yours. And the benefit or the thing to consider here is that the person they're working on has to be open to having that type of frequency. There has to be like
Mm.
some kind of resonance that
Ah,
their energy is like, well, why are they coming in on this session but not with another person? So there's
mm,
something within the essence of your client that's very receptive. And so I can't say not everything is like we can't just jump to conclusions, but probably there is a higher probability that they did have life as a mer person themselves or have a deep connection with the waters, um, or sound
mm,
healing because merfolk use sound healing, but you can just kind of feel and see into that. However, keep in mind everybody's still discovering. Like I didn't discover dragons until 2012. Like I was a full-on adult here. I didn't have a fascination as a kid, or I didn't
no.
daydream about any of this. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, you have a soul level connection, and now is the time that needs to be known. So even if your clients haven't had any thoughts about mermaids, this might be their introduction to it. And it just means that it wasn't as actively present or needed in their life until this point. So
Okay.
yeah, I would just flow with it. And
Okay.
if they have a specific message for your client, you can find it in those messages. There'll be more information and how they word it.
So that is where I feel like I am not, I mean, I don't like the word struggling, but I'm not really getting messages. Like I'm seeing all these different people work on them and I'm seeing, like the fairies hit a spot and I see the light go out where it needs to go. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm still not getting any like concrete messages. Not any, that's not
Okay.
true sometimes, but I would love, and maybe they're not telling me because it doesn't matter. Like the healing's being done anyway. But you know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I sometimes I have like very clear messages. Like I'll finish with a client and be like, oh, like she for sure lost a child. Like I know that happened and I know this is what we're working on. And sometimes like nothing.
Okay. So the first thing they shared was, well, you're not giving a reading. Like that's not what they signed up for. So
Mm-hmm.
you always won't have a message. When you do, it's like with intention and really applicable to help them process the experience and to give validity, credibility, compassion to the knowings. They're saying the knowings the client knows through their body, their energy they can feel. But when you share the message, the mental space can click in and be like, oh, I am seen and heard. This really is happening. I'm feeling in a very loving embrace. And it can kind of crack or open that space for more emotions to be released. And then having this complete cathartic moment. So you won't always get messages, but that's okay because otherwise it'd be too much in one sitting and then or like one session, and then the awareness will go more into the mental space for receiving messages for the client. So when you're sharing the healing work that you are, they're getting to relax and not have to think about things. If you wanted to share feedback, just in the way you just told me, like a lot of light came through here. And then they can process it or not, depending if they want to through thoughts like, well, what does that mean? Or they might ask you. But when you say, like, oh, I saw a lot of light come through, and if you do get the message, you could say, this is releasing anger or what have you. So then you would know, but you don't need to, and you won't always, because it's not the type of setting
Right.
that they booked. Yeah.
So, can I ask about that? So, I was wondering with bringing in EFT and tapping, like, will my intuition kick in using that modality? Like, I feel like for me, it's the different modalities that I use is when I start to really connect in to my intuition. And so I'm wondering,
Mm-hmm.
one of my, I love emotional freedom technique and I can't wait to use it with people, but I'm also like a little bit, I was hoping to use it intuitively. And I'm wondering if that's a space where messages might come in that I can help clients with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm feeling the energy. It feels really soft and peaceful and deep and healing. How, like, with the application of using it intuitively, what does that look like so I can better understand?
So like when I'm tapping with someone, right, if they're coming for whatever reason, it can take
Mhm.
a little while to get to like the core, right,
Oh, I
of
see.
what's happening. And, you know, sometimes you tap with someone and they're very connected and it comes up immediately and they're very connected to their intuition.
Yeah.
But sometimes like I've tapped with coaches for myself before when it's like their intuition helps bring something up so quickly so we can get to
Yes. Yes.
the
You,
what's the like the
you,
root of the issue.
yeah.
And
You,
so I was hoping that that might happen. Like I'm working with the client and me, I'm like, okay, it feels like something from, I'm seeing something from here, you know.
mm-hmm. The energy's so strong, and I apologize for talking over you. I'm just like, oh
So,
my gosh, it like wants to flow through me, like I'm humming.
please, yes.
Yeah, no, you're right on. The more you talk about it, it's like it built and built and built this visceral confirmation. Yes, you will be tuning in intuitively and getting to the heart of the matter with them, going deeper, faster, like really targeted work. Absolutely. And the vision that I see is like after they have an emotional freedom technique session. I'm not sure how you're already like formatting it, but I see your clients laying on the massage table and then you sharing Reiki. And you could do a little cleanup if needed, but it's more to infuse light in. And so whatever was released, now you're cocooning them, and like you're just letting the light flow into their body, and it feels so good. I can feel it right now. They're giving me a feeling of like the experience where, oh my gosh. So if it's the more emotional it is on the release, the more time on the table. Like
Okay.
I feel like 20 minutes would be fantastic,
Okay.
and don't like, so they don't feel rushed. So if you could
Yeah.
combine it, it would be just amazing. And let's say if somebody, like if you're structuring your sessions this way and they don't have a super emotional release and it goes really fast and clean, because it can, especially if it's in the mental body, or
Mm-hmm.
certain parts of the physical body can just like release and transmute very efficiently. But then that's okay too. They say then the 20-minute Reiki session to charge them up and recalibrate and finesse everything is perfect. Like you never, like 20 minutes isn't where you would say, oh, they don't need 20 minutes. I mean, 20 minutes, you
Right.
know? So if you can incorporate that in, that would be really a beautiful blend of all of your offerings. And when we do the emotional freedom technique, it's work for the client, like they're working.
Yes.
So then to just relax and receive, that would be so soothing. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, that's great. I actually just did a practice with a friend and we kind of did that. We tapped for a little and she didn't lay down, but at the end, I kind of just guided her through this meditation of bringing light in. And I just kind of sat and
Mm-hmm.
gave her some energy only for like 5 minutes, but because I wanted her to also be able to bring that light in, you know.
Yeah. No, it's so pretty. And when they're on the table for the Reiki portion, like 90% of the time, they're encouraging music. Do you have crystal bowls? I saw that.
It's so
I,
funny.
I don't
I
know if you
don't
have
have
them.
bowls
Okay.
and yet, I'm going to say yet. So like
Yeah.
last year I went to this not even last year, yeah, 8 months ago, whenever I went to this raising your frequency thing. Anyway, the alchemy bowls were there. And I just like walked over and started playing them. And she's like, "Do you play?" And I was like, "No." But like, I'm in love with these bowls right now.
Yeah,
They're just an investment. So
they are for sure.
um I do play Reiki like music when I give sessions, and it is in my intention to get a bowl sometime soon and kind of
Yeah,
integrate that somehow. I'm not even sure how I would integrate it. I don't have any experience with it, but
it'll
it just
just,
feels so natural.
it is. It'll come to you. That's why I saw you with the bowls, but I also felt like you don't have them yet, but you
Mm.
will. So
Yeah.
until then, play your, recorded musics because it's so beautiful. But think about when you get your bowls, I would, if you could afford to like save up to get a whole set, but if you want to do one by one, work
Mm.
with somebody to make sure they all go together. I'm not a professional at
Okay.
music.
No, for sure. So
Yeah.
I don't think that I can because I don't want the frosted. Like I'm very clear on what I
On what you
want.
want. Yes,
And
then
they're like
okay.
super expensive. So I'm like, I'll just get one at a time and I'll just,
Yeah.
and I was just, you know, or
So
no.
no, you could. And then the intention would be what note? And it's like so hard
Mm,
to pick. So
yeah.
feel, meditate, go into your sessions and connect with your team. I'm feeling it really like there's something about the throat chakra,
Yeah.
which
I
is
mean,
surprising because I would have said something different, but Spirit's saying
I've
that
been
throat
working on my
chakra.
throat for so long. I
Okay.
mean, it is like, seriously, yeah.
Because then you can use it too for yourself. Um, but just know that after the session, please ground them because your sessions are really high and you will want to bring them back into the body to ground them more.
Oh, how do you have any recommendations on
Well,
like,
if you don't have like the root chakra, a drum, like the root chakra bowl, a drum, but
okay.
I stand at their feet, hold their ankles and feet, and I ground myself and pull them back into the
Okay.
body just through resonance. Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be anything special. It doesn't have like,
It's
that's not
intention.
intention. Okay. I want to make sure I'm not missing like a
Yeah.
something I need to use or anything like that.
It's
I
intention.
have crystals too that I often will ground with.
Uh-huh. That will definitely help.
Okay.
The special part is grounding yourself, making sure you're grounded to pull them back through, like back in the body when you close, because your sessions are really, I mean, high frequency, meaning like a higher dimensional space.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, this is so fun how the combo is going. I know our listeners are learning as well. It's fascinating.
Yes.
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 Yes. So your episode was I feel like life-changing because it opened up so many
Yes.
thoughts and doors. Is there anything from that session that stood out to you?
I would say like the biggest thing after that session was I know I mentioned the merpeople, but like the fair, it was literally because we did the fairy wing, right? In
Yeah,
that
we fixed your
session.
fairy wing.
And
Yes.
like honestly, the next day, the fairies were just so clear to me. And I
Oh.
was like, wait, what? Because again, I didn't even know I'm really like I feel like I've come into this world in a different way than most people, like in a backwards way. So like I don't know. I was like I didn't even know that fairies were like a thing. Like I didn't even know that that was existed as a realm, you
Right.
know.
Okay.
So and I'm very much a skeptic of all things at first, which is funny because I'm in this industry now, but like, and
It's
so I
good
feel like
though.
before that session, if you had been like, oh, fairies, I would have been like, like, really?
Yeah.
But now there was no question. I was like, and I go into a session and I literally just like put my finger down and I'm like, ding, like, thank you, fairies.
Yes. Oh
And
my gosh.
so I do have one more question if you have time, because the thing
Yeah.
that's just coming to me now is I feel like in that session you were talking about like something about like giving a fairy attunements or something like that. And I'm like,
Oh,
how does that even work? Like, what does that even mean?
yeah. I think what it was is that in your Reiki attunements, the fairies may come in.
Okay.
And so as you recall, you mentioned like the mer people were coming in.
Yeah.
It'd be just like that.
And
So
does that like, I don't like attune that person to that world too? Or is that
I
just,
believe, yeah, it's going to open up the connection. And of
mm,
course, like it's not up to us. So if it happens, it's meant to. And you're
right.
holding that space. So because you have such a strong connection to that realm, that then the energy comes through you, you're channeling it in, and they are then receiving. So your clients are receiving that attunement, which the attunement is an introduction into that frequency that entrains their energy in their body. And so it's like an opportunity for them to then deepen that connection more and more. So when you're having these experiences and you feel another being from another realm come in or another frequency, I mean, sometimes in my Reiki attunements, I'll get Karuna Reiki symbols, which I'm using Usui attunement. It's an Usui class. But if a Karuna Reiki symbol comes in, I know it's meant for them. And so I give them the symbol. So I'll tell them,
Okay.
so you would do the same. Like,
Because that's also, so I think, I don't know if I even told you, I don't know if you know Brett Bevel. Brett Bevel, he's like written some Reiki books, and he has sort of downloaded slash developed this system of healing called Magical Awakening. And so I've
mm,
done a bunch of levels of his, and I've been trying to like keep them. So I don't teach or attune in Magical Awakening at all. I just use the energy, but like I've been trying to like purposely keep them separate. So like if I'm giving a Reiki attunement, I'm like, nope, this is just Reiki. But then I like might feel one of the guides from that come in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Is this okay? Because I'm telling them I'm giving them a Reiki attunement, but like Lady of the Lake is here.
yeah.
No.
No, it's okay. Like it's up to spirit. We can't
Okay.
gate, like we don't need to gatekeep and think we know
Right.
best. It's they're there for them. It makes me smile. Cause yeah, I was like, but I'll tell my students, I'm like, well, this obviously isn't a part of the training. So, but it's here, it's already here. And I'm just letting
Mhm.
them know. And so you be the same, like
Yeah.
Lady of the Lake is here, and I'm letting you know. And this is where you can get more information if you want to study further or train on the next, and train in that. So you
So
can
like
do.
if someone asked you though, like if you, let's say you have a Reiki client who at the beginning is just like how would I have, like if I'm like, oh, the mer people are here to someone, and she's like, well, how do you connect with them? I'd be like, I don't know.
You see them, just tell them how you did. Oh, how should they connect with them?
No, like if they ask me how can they connect with
Oh
them,
yeah.
and I'd be like, well, I didn't try, I don't know, like it just happened, just practice and going
Yeah.
inward and
I would say, well, they're showing up to be known, their presence known.
mm,
So in whatever ways you connect to spirit, because everybody has stronger core gifts, but you can just lead them back to meditation. And even some of these, I know it can feel like we're making it up when it happens, but if you're like tuning into music that's more fairy or stories that are more fey or elven, you're definitely activating it around. And this is where we could be like, oh, it's a story, it's pretend,
mm,
it's make believe, but no, like it's
mm,
energy. And when we put
right.
our open a space to be receptive and connect with that frequency, then more will come in. So get creative, and you can ask spirit what might be best for them. But as simple as getting an oracle deck that's based upon that realm, is it the fairies, the dragons, the unicorns, the mermaids? They have oracle decks like that. There is certain music. One of my healers had a playlist called, like, I'm gonna get it wrong because I don't recall, but like undulating mermaids or something.
Ah,
um
okay.
and it was the most beautiful transcendental otherworldly music. And it just opened up. And so she had a playlist, and I think it was just on shuffle, and these songs would come in, and then it's like, oh my gosh, the merfolk are here. But as a clairvoyant, like, I kind of felt them before the song came on. So it's like, what came first?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it does work, and it's not a way of trying to make something up or spiritual bypass or trick ourselves. It's like trusting, and scientifically
Mhm.
it makes sense if we're connecting into the thought or the awareness of an energy, that it could be like, if that energy's there, it's like, oh hi, it's a greeting and it's an opening for us to make that connection. So It's just like if somebody is thinking of something negative or they hear a negative story and then they can't shake that energy after, it's because it's around. So why don't we just invite in the beauty?
Right.
Allow that to come
Yeah.
in. So, but also fairies, of course, they love herbs and flowers and crystals and music. But I think you asked about the merfolk. So feeling to like, what do the merfolk love? So like salt and sun and water and
Mhm.
and just kind of flow into it. Seashells, kelp.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
so beautiful. Oh my goodness. I am so
Yes.
excited that session just like opened to so many other gifts and guidance and beings to be with you. And I'm trying to think back, like there was so much. I remember at the beginning, I was seeing all of these spheres of realities show for you that represented different times and your strengths. And then it was all about how will that be integrated and embodied into this life now. So the work that you're doing, if it feels new or different, and like you said, I didn't even know this was a thing, it's really important to trust that because you're kind of on the forefront of it. But then
Mhm.
also, just as it feels a little like there's a little hesitancy, and even speaking of it now, then there are a lot of people who do experience this, but they're not speaking it. So, well, hopefully now after the show and the podcast, it's going to give people just that feeling like, oh, this is legit. I'm not the only one.
Yes.
And trusting in those connections because as the earth is shifting and Gaia's energy, it's in the fifth dimension and beyond, and it's just welcoming us, like opening for us to come through to those higher realms. And as that happens, these other realms and dimensions are more accessible to us. So, yeah,
Right.
flowing and allowing the time and the space for the connection and the allowing of the possibility and not shutting
Mhm.
it down before it even happens.
Right. Yeah, very cool.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
amazing. Wow, it's been such a gift to connect today and just to tune in. Your session, like I said, was so powerful. So, for those of you who have not seen episode 6 of season 2, this is Laura's beautiful episode where we were greeted with her team in spirit, opening up her connections to the elementals, the fairies, the dragons, and more to help her through her transition and awakening as a healer and stepping into the next phase and embodiment of your gifts. So I'm really grateful that you came on today to share some highlights and I can feel it. I can see that it's like, yeah, deepening because there's these questions. It's like, okay, and now what about this and that? And this is happening. Brings me so much joy. And where can people connect with you, Laura, if they would like to work with you and have a session?
Do you like my website or
Yeah, yeah. How could they
so
connect?
my business name is Joyful Wellbeing. And so my business website is joyful-wellbeing.com. And I'm based
Beautiful.
outside of Boston. So, I mean, I can do things remotely, but that's where I am physically based.
Okay.
Um,
And you said Boston, Massachusetts?
yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And so you do a few things remotely, but more in the physical right now.
Yeah, so I offer like small group meditations with energy work in them, and I offer one-on-one sessions, and I'm hoping to start doing emotional freedom technique as well. So I do some remote work, but at this point, it's mostly in person.
Okay. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm just feeling like going back to when I would do a lot of in person, but then I've moved so much that
Right.
everything started to
Yes.
become remote for my practice. Amazing. Community is so important, and the in
Yes.
person is so powerful. Oh, it
And if
feels so
anyone's,
good.
I will say this, I don't even know if anyone's listening from, I do offer once a month a free Reiki share. Anyone, any level, could have been trained 20 years ago, could be a master practitioner, to just come because you mentioned build community. We practice
Yeah.
on each other, we meditate together, and we just build community. So you know who's in your area, who is also interested in energy work.
So powerful.
So yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
That
And all
feels
that's on
so
my
good.
website. So
Okay, beautiful. I will put the links below. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining today on the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. This has been a beautiful conversation. I hope that the information has been profoundly inspiring and provided some confirmation for you and your own spiritual connection and healing practice. And thank you, Laura, so much for being here. If you'd like to watch Laura's episode, you can go to spiritandsoulhealingshow.com or click the link below. And I look forward to connecting with you all again on the next episode. Be sure to subscribe, and we'd love for you to share with a friend. Also, I'm ever so grateful for all your reviews. Thank you so much, beautiful. Have a wonderful day.